Hey there, English learners! Welcome back to another episode of the English Story Podcast. I'm Mark, your host, and I'm here with my amazing co host, Hope.
Hi, everyone. If you've ever felt frustrated while speaking English because your mind goes blank or you hesitate too much, then today's episode is just for you.
That's right. A lot of English learners struggle with thinking in English. They have to translate words from their native language before speaking, which slows them down and makes conversations feel awkward.
Exactly. But here's the secret. Fluent speakers don't translate in their heads. They don't stop to think about grammar rules or try to find the perfect word. Instead, they think directly in English and just let their ideas flow naturally.
So, how can you train your brain to think in English like a fluent speaker? Well, that's exactly what we're going to teach you today.
In this episode, we'll talk about why your brain resists thinking in English and how to overcome it. Daily techniques to switch your thinking from your native language to English. Fun exercises to speed up your response time so you can speak more fluently.
And stick around until the end because we have a special challenge for you, one that will help you start thinking in English right away.
That's right, so grab your notebook, get comfortable, and let's dive in.
Ready? Let's go. All right, before we dive into the techniques, let's talk about something really important. Why is it so hard to think in English in the first place?
Exactly. If you've ever tried to switch your thoughts to English but found yourself automatically translating back to your native language, don't worry, you're not alone. This happens to almost every English learner, and there's a scientific reason for it. The comfort zone of your native language.
Our brains love comfort. They want to use the easiest, most familiar path to process information. And what's the easiest way? Your first language.
Right. Your native language has been wired into your brain since childhood. It's your automatic response system. So when you try to think in English, your brain resists because it feels unnatural, like trying to write with your non-dominant hand.
That's a great comparison. It's uncomfortable at first because your brain is trying to go back to what it already knows. But the good news is, you can train your brain to change.
Yes, your brain is not fixed. It's flexible, and it can learn new habits. This is something called neuroplasticity, which means your brain can rewire itself to think in English if you practice consistently. How bilingual brains work differently.
Here's something interesting. Scientists have studied how bilingual people think, and guess what? Their brains function differently from monolingual speakers.
That's true. Studies show that people who regularly think in two languages have stronger cognitive abilities, better memory, and even faster problem-solving skills. Their brains are constantly switching between languages so they become more efficient at processing words and ideas.
But here's the thing. If you're still translating in your head, your brain is stuck in the beginner mode of language learning. You're not fully using the power of a bilingual brain yet.
Exactly. Think of it like this. When you translate, it's like taking the long route on a GPS instead of the shortest, fastest road. Translation takes extra time, and that's why speaking fluently feels slow and frustrating.
So, what's the solution? You need to skip the translation step and start thinking directly in English, and that's what we'll show you next.
That's right. In the next segment, we'll share powerful techniques to help you start thinking in English every day. No more translating, no more hesitation.
Get ready, because these methods will transform the way you learn and speak English. Let's go. All right, now that we understand why our brain resists thinking in English, let's talk about how to train it to switch gears without forcing translation.
That's right. The key to thinking in English is daily practice. You don't have to live in an English-speaking country to do this. You just need to create small habits that push your brain to work in English naturally.
The self-talk method. First up, we have one of my personal favorites, the self-talk method. It's exactly what it sounds like. You talk to yourself in English throughout the day.
And before you say, "That sounds weird," let me tell you, this technique is backed by science. Studies show that self-talk helps language learners improve fluency faster because it forces them to process their thoughts in English.
That's right. So how does this work? Simple. Just describe what you're doing. If you're making breakfast, say in your mind or out loud, "I'm making toast. I need butter. The coffee smells so good." If you're getting ready for work, "Where are my shoes? I need to leave in 5 minutes. Oh no, I forgot my bag."
See? You're not making full conversations, just simple thoughts, spoken or in your head. But here's the trick. Don't translate.
Exactly. Don't think in your native language first. Even if you only know basic words, that's okay. The more you practice, The faster your brain connects English words directly to actions and feelings.
And if you ever don't know a word, don't panic, just describe it. For example, I don't know the word for umbrella. It's the thing that stops rain, you hold it over your head.
That's such a great tip. Because in real conversations, you don't always need to know the exact word. You just need to explain it in English.
Now let's talk about another technique, thought chains and word associations.
This is a fun one. Thought chains work like this. You start with one word and let your mind naturally connect it to the next. For example, if you start with coffee, morning, work, boss, emails, weekend, relaxing.
See how your brain naturally jumps from one idea to another. This is exactly what native speakers do when they think.
Right. And you can do this with any word. Try this right now. Pick a word and let your brain follow the chain without switching to your native language.
Here, let's try one together. Mark, your word is beach. Go.
Okay. Beach, sand, sun, vacation, swimming, ice cream.
Perfect. Now, listeners, your turn. Pick a word, any word, and let your brain connect it to other words in English.
The final daily habit is immersing yourself in English, even if you're not in an English-speaking country.
That's right. You don't need to move to London or New York to think in English. Just change your environment a little bit every day. Here's how. Change your phone settings to English.
Write your to-do list in English.
Set reminders in English.
Follow English-speaking creators on social media.
Read a short English article daily. Even one paragraph helps.
And one of the best ways? Watch movies or TV in English with English subtitles.
Yes. Many learners make the mistake of watching English movies with subtitles in their native language. But that actually keeps you thinking in your first language.
So instead, switch to English subtitles. Even if you don't understand every word, your brain starts connecting sounds to meaning in English directly.
And remember, this is not about being perfect, it's about building the habit of letting English become a normal part of your thinking process.
Exactly. And now that we've got some powerful daily habits, let's take it up a notch and work on speeding up your thinking in the next segment. Ready? Let's go. All right, we've talked about how to start thinking in English with daily habits, but now let's make it faster and smoother, because the goal is to respond in English without hesitation.
That's right. A lot of learners know English, but when it comes to speaking, they freeze up because their brain is too busy searching for the right words.
But don't worry, we have two powerful techniques to help you speed up your thinking and speaking so you can respond more naturally.
The 1-minute quick response drill. This is one of my favorite exercises because it forces your brain to think quickly, just like in real conversations. Here's how it works. 1. Set a timer for 1 minute.
2. Pick a random topic. It could be your morning routine, your weekend plans, or even what you had for lunch.
3. Talk non-stop for 1 minute in English. No pausing, no stopping.
And if you get stuck, use filler words like or rephrase the sentence. The key is to keep talking, even if your sentences aren't perfect.
Let's try a quick demo. Mark, your topic is your dream vacation. Ready? Go.
Okay, my dream vacation is to visit Japan. I love the culture, the food, the history. I want to see cherry blossoms in spring. Also, I want to try sushi in Tokyo. I would go to Kyoto to visit old temples, and maybe I'd take a bullet train. Yeah, I think Japan would be amazing.
Great job. Notice how Mark didn't stop even when he needed a second to think. He kept going by using simple words and filler phrases like and
That's right. And listeners, your turn. Pause this podcast, set a timer for 1 minute, and describe anything you want. It can be your hobbies, your favorite food, or what you're doing right now.
And remember, this is not about being perfect. It's about training your brain to think and respond faster in English, just like native speakers do.
Storytelling without overthinking. Our second technique is storytelling on the spot. This is where you tell a short story using simple English, without planning, translating, or overthinking.
It's a fun challenge that forces you to think quickly while making English sentences flow naturally. Here's how it works.
1. Pick any 3 random words. For example, cat, pizza, rain.
2. Create a short story using those words without stopping to think too much.
Let's try it. Hope your words are dog, bicycle, and ice cream. Go.
Okay. I was walking my dog when suddenly I saw a man riding a bicycle very fast. He almost hit an ice cream cart. The ice cream fell on the ground and my dog ran to eat it. The man on the bicycle laughed, and the ice cream seller gave my dog a free scoop.
That was great. It was simple, quick, and fun, and you didn't stop to think too much.
Exactly. The goal here is to practice storytelling without worrying about mistakes.
So listeners, try it now. Pick 3 words and make up a quick story in English. It doesn't have to be long or complicated. Just get your brain thinking in English without overanalyzing.
So to summarize, practice the 1-minute quick response drill. Pick a topic and talk for 1 minute nonstop. Use storytelling without overthinking. Pick 3 words and create a quick, simple story.
These 2 techniques train your brain to think and speak in English quickly. So when you have a real conversation, you don't hesitate or freeze up.
And remember, mistakes are okay. The more you push yourself to think in English, the more natural it will feel over time.
Coming up next, we'll give you your listener challenge for today. Wow, today's episode was packed with powerful techniques to help you think in English daily and speed up your responses. Now it's time to put everything into action with a fun listener challenge.
That's right. Learning English isn't just about listening to tips. You have to practice them to see real results.
Here's your task for today. 1. For the next few hours, think in English as much as possible. Describe what you're doing. Talk about what you see around you. Try forming simple sentences in your head.
2. Choose any 5 minutes of your day and narrate it out loud. Example: I am waking up. I feel sleepy. I will make coffee. The coffee smells good. I check my phone. It's 7:30 a.m. Time to start my day. Don't worry about making perfect sentences. Just keep speaking. 3. Bonus challenge. Record yourself speaking for 1 minute about your day and listen back to it.
Notice where you hesitate or get stuck. Try again and see if you can speak more fluently the second time.
And if you really want to push yourself, comment below or send us a message sharing 1 sentence from your narration. We'd love to hear how you're doing.
Remember, the key to thinking in English isn't perfection, it's consistency. The more you practice, the faster your brain will switch into English mode without translating.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every mistake you make is a step toward fluency.
So keep practicing, keep challenging yourself, and soon, thinking in English will feel as natural as your native language.
Thanks for joining us today. If you found this episode helpful, hit that follow button, share this podcast with your friends, and leave us a review. It really helps us reach more English learners like you.
And stay tuned for the next episode, where we'll break down another powerful technique to improve your fluency. Until then,
Keep thinking, keep speaking, and keep learning. See you next time.